If there's someone who is always at the wrong place at the wrong time, it is Paula. Wherever she goes, she ends up with a dead body, and instead of solving the problem she is in, she ends up digging her grave a little deeper. In the previous episode, Paula thought she could get some help from Trevor's friend, Sky, but that backfired. Sky is dead, thanks to Dennis, who is determined to wrap up the Trevor chapter, and he can't achieve that goal until he gets hold of Paula and ties up that last loose end. In episode 6 of Maximum Pleasure Guaranteed, Paula is still trying her best to keep it together. From organizing a pizza party for the soccer club at Hazel's school to teaming up with Rudy and Jerry to find out Ash's location and solve the murder mystery, Paula's goal in life is simple. She wants to be there for Hazel, and to do that, she has to clean up the ugly mess she is in. I think Paula suffers from a mix of good and bad luck. She finds herself in the worst possible situation, yet somehow she survives. This time, a private investigator indirectly saved her life. Dennis now has two loose ends to tie off. One is Paula, and the other is Ash. Since the cops already know about Paula, he decides to deal with her before eventually tracking down Ash. On the day of the soccer party, Dennis sneaks into Paula's apartment and waits for her to show up. She was out buying party essentials while discussing their next move to find the killer with Rudy and Jerry. She is hopeful that if she organizes a fun party, the parents will write the compelling recommendation letters that will help her win the custody battle. At the end of the day, her priority is Hazel, and to ensure that she is not dragged to Boise, Idaho, Paula has to put up a good fight. Mallory is ruthless. She is determined to move to Boise with Carl and Hazel immediately, and she has hired a private investigator to get the dirt on Paula. Remember the man we saw taking pictures of Paula at the very end of the last episode? He is Frank Budkins, a private investigator. Carl is surprised to find out that Mallory has hired a private investigator. As much as he wants to win the case, he is afraid to play dirty with Paula. Mallory doesn't care. She believes someone has to take radical steps to get things done, and she doesn't mind being that person in their relationship. The PI states that after tracking Paula for a couple of days, he has come to the conclusion that she doesn't drink or do drugs, but it looks like she has a boyfriend. As it turns out, when Dennis sneaked into Paula's apartment, had a couple of squishy fruits from her fridge, and lazed around, the PI had been watching him. Well, Dennis didn't know about the situation, but he eventually noticed a man with a camera from the window, and that was when he figured he had to leave and plan Paula's murder some other day. The PI assumes Dennis is Paula's boyfriend. This is hilarious. Well, how else can you explain a man entering your apartment when you're not there? One won't immediately assume that the man is a murderer waiting for the victim to come home. Frank suggests that they use this angle to their advantage. Mallory and Carl can easily win the case if they can prove that Paula is in a relationship with a man who has keys to her apartment, which is a risky move considering her daughter stays with her, and the man could pose a danger someday. Carl isn't comfortable with the direction the custody battle is heading in. He knows the kind of trouble Paula is in, and it looks like he genuinely feels bad for her and hopes that for once she makes the right choices in life. He stops by Paula's place during the soccer party and tells her about the PI they've hired. He wonders why she hasn't mentioned her boyfriend, and Paula doesn't know how to react. She doesn't have a boyfriend, but according to